Hi folks, I'm David Thompson with FAIA in Tallahassee. I'm here in downtown Lantana with
historic downtown Lantana.
Longtime friend Rob Norberg. Rob, we're going to get your own YouTube channel for these videos pretty soon.
That's right. We have fun doing this, but it's good to educate the public out there as well as all the agents.
Yeah, it's great to have you in the trenches, as I say. I'm in the ivory tower. You're in the trenches for sure, and having your perspective for the folks out there is really good. So we're just going to have a conversation and kind of ignore that camera.
Sure.
We're going to talk about ordinance and law coverage today. It's an important coverage. It all goes back really in Florida to about 1992 after Andrew, and our statute changed then that requires a homeowners carrier, homeowners of admitted markets, to issue a homeowners policy with ordinance and law at 25%. And a few years back that changed to issue at 25 and offer a 50. Now you were at our convention recently. You remember this?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we talked about ordinance and law, and I just point blank asked you, do you always quote 50%? And you said?
My thing was no. It was kind of a coverage that was sitting there, and we really hadn't discovered the potential. We didn't know what it was about. A lot of my staff said, hey, we just thought that was just an add-on option for people that, wanted to beef up their policy.
I remember I asked you, I said, well, why don't you do it? And your response was, we're starting on Monday.
We are starting on Monday. It's going to be our new type of stack type of thing.
Very successful there.
Yeah.
Just real quick, you have an interesting perspective about how you approach insurance and the best coverages. It goes back to your pre-insurance days in the clothing industry. I think you were working in a clothing department. How does that relate to insurance?
Yeah, I was a manager of a big retail chain here in Florida, and they always teach our salespeople to start at the top, start with the best coverage, start with the best product, and then step the people down based on their budget and needs. And usually you find that if you start at the top and sell the product with all the features and benefits, people will buy. And that's been the biggest thing that I've brought into our staff here as well.
Well, it's kind of like, if you don't quote it, they're sure not going to buy it.
Right.
Is my perspective. I mean, the worst they can say is no.
The worst they can say is no, or I want it cheaper. How can we make it cheaper? And you find that once people understand the coverages they're buying, they're usually willing to pay that small extra amount and go ahead and get the coverage.
I find a common misconception out there among our agents that a new structure doesn't need to have ordinance and law. Sometimes people say, well, on an old structure I'll quote 50, but a new structure like my sister's house, that you wrote her house, they say a new structure doesn't need ordinance and law. I'm looking on your screen right there. I see that you've got our ordinance and law article up there. Is that something that you provide to customers and explain why a brand new structure needs this?
Yeah, as with any type of coverage that you're trying to add on by endorsement or enhance a policy, you've got to know what it involves and what the coverages are. So that's what we've tried to teach our staff as well, to say, hey, you got to understand there are cases where this type of extra coverage will kick in on newer structures, and it will come into play. So that's what we try to do. We try to reference the FAIA articles, things that you've done out there for us to make it easy to understand and to have the consumer understand.
Well, this article right here, and we'll put that on the screen so that folks can see it. We're talking just about homeowners today, me and you, but some of our folks out there do commercial property, and the concept's exactly the same.
Right.
It's just on that side there's coverages A, B, and C. On homeowners, it's all just one big bucket of money. So I know that everybody doesn't enjoy the low insurance premiums that I do. My house in Tallahassee insured for about $250,000, and the premium is about $1,200 and some change. You'd kill for that down here.
Right.
My ordinance and law at 50%, I meant to check, is probably well under $100 if I compare 25 to 50. But you're not in Tallahassee, so I know you had some prices there.
Yeah, and again, this will surprise most of you all, just like the stacking of UM will surprise people. But if you had the ordinance and law at 50% on most of, we ran several carriers, and even old homes versus new homes don't have that much of a difference. You're looking at a couple $100 extra per year to go up from that 25 to 50.
Okay.
So that should not make or break any deal.
You have an analogy about
Yeah.
the cost of a cup of coffee or
Right.
something. What's
Yeah.
that?
I mean, that you spend more than that on your Starbucks every day.
Yeah.
And when you put it in that perspective to the clients, they're more likely to understand and say, yeah, for less than $1 a day extra, I can have double the coverage. So on several of the quotes I talked about, we're talking about $38,000, $40,000 additional coverage for that ordinance and law.
And unfortunately, during the, I've lost track of hurricane season, 2016 and 17, I'm personally aware of about 5 or 6 E&O claims to where the customer had rejected the 25 and there was just 10 in the policy. And in 2 of those situations, unfortunately, the agent had no documentation that 25% was ever quoted. And one of them, they were about $15,000 short.
Right.
So I know your hit ratio on uninsured motorists is amazing in Palm Beach County. We talked on the phone last week. I don't think you're successful on ordinance and law, are you?
No, yeah, and again, it's getting our staff and everybody trained to quote it every single time, to keep that quote in file, to review it with the client. You know, and I think our hit ratio is going to increase. And again, if you're quoting it from the beginning and explaining it to the client, they're more likely to take it.
You have a wild guess as to, and I know it's just that, as to what percent of the time you quote 50, they buy 50?
Well, I would say it's probably about 50-50 right at this
So
point.
you're that high on that?
Yeah, because like I said, it's not that big a deal. The only time we're really running into a pushback is when we're dealing with the price shoppers and they're quoting us against other people. And if you don't explain the differences in the coverages or have the opportunity, that's when they say, I want the cheapest price.
But we've talked before about this. You've done sessions with us in my E&O classes. That price shopper is not something you want to go after, right?
Right. It's not our primary contact. You know, we want to get the people in here that are going to be a long-term good business prospect. But you know, occasionally we have to negotiate to keep the doors open. So you know.
Do you have any final comments for the folks that are watching about?
Yeah.
I mean, ordinance and law specifically, but just quoting the best in general.
Yeah, quote the best in general, and don't be fooled by those underquoting people out there. You know, those agents that are underquoting are they may get the initial sale, but they're going to also get the long-term negative benefits that go with selling cheap, mainly in the era with the ability to be saved from an E&O claim. And gaining that long-term customer confidence. I mean, if you're the expert, be the expert by showing them all the details of the policy.
I appreciate your time. I do have to tell the folks out there that you used to work for free. You do these for free. But
That's
you
right.
kind of got, since you're such a media star now, you kind of got highfalutin and you demanded payment for this.
That's right. We need payment.
And I talked to Dave Newell, my boss, about it, and he said, absolutely not. We're not giving that man a dime. Whatever you want to do is up to you, Thompson. So I have something better than cash for you, Rob.
That's right.
I was on the smoker last weekend. I got a small rack of baby backs for you right here.
That's right.
Thompson special. And an entire quart bag of Boston butt. This will feed the entire family if it makes it home.
Yeah, we're going to have lunch. I'm going to put that with some Dave sauce, and it'll be a great thing. So.
Well, again, thanks so much for your time. You're blindly loyal to FAI. You always give your time. And the folks out there, it's great to see someone like you in the trenches. So.
Yeah, it's great to be part of FAIA and the team, and you know, look forward to more insurance nerd stories with you.
Well, we'll probably have some other video coming up pretty soon here too.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Rob. All right, folks. Glad to have Rob. I hope you enjoyed hearing someone in the trenches. Y'all have a great day.